Hey, man. Hey, man.
All right, now on here on Ramblin About Racing, joined by Brayton Laster, driver to 03 Ford for Mullen Autosports.
Mullins Racing. It
Mullins
depends where you look. The Daytona, like the book they have at Daytona says Mullins Autosport.
Okay.
But the official name is Mullins Racing. But
Mullins Racing, the 03 Ford by Mullins Racing. And this session of Hey Man presented by Devo's Outdoor Lighting. Head over to ramblinaboutracing.com under the sponsors tab, or head over to devosoutdoor.com for your outdoor lighting needs. Use code Ramblin for 10% off for all your outdoor lighting needs, or maybe short track lighting needs, whatever you need there, Brayton. But yeah, joined here by Brayton Laster. Just finished a race in Daytona. And
finish is a strong word.
It was an interesting race, up and down race down there. I mean, you're one of the few people we've talked to that actually race on that historic track here at the Daytona International Speedway. Mm-hmm. Very interesting, man. So, I mean, since we're just got finished talking about this last weekend of racing in all four series, ARCA, NASCAR, Trucks, Xfinity Cup. How was it down there, man?
Yeah, the weather was great. I mean, it was some cooler weather. As far as the racing went, it was definitely up and down for us. It started out strong. We were 14th in practice, and that was only we had a 50-minute practice session on Thursday, and we weren't going to really push too hard or anything down there. It's just practice. Here's the thing about ARCA, running with a bit of a smaller underdog team, is we didn't really have a backup car at all. So if I just scored my car in practice, that would have been my race weekend over. So We went out there, we ran 10, 15 laps, and it was just me and one other car, and we ended up 14th out of 34 on the practice chart. So we were very proud of that.
All right.
And qualifying, ARCA does group qualifying. I don't know why we do group qualifying. Cup did it a couple years ago. And
total disaster. Disaster.
And here's the fun thing with ARCA is it's random group qualifying. So it's not like you have an hour to go do it. You have 4 minutes and you get set in a random group of 5 to 7 cars. And how it goes is like the first group will go out, they'll line up on pit road, and they'll start a 4-minute clock and have 4 minutes. And wherever you are when the 4 minutes ends, that's it. So as many laps as you can get done in 4 minutes, pretty much.
Okay.
And we had, I feel like, the best group in qualifying. Like I said, it's all random, and 6 of our 7 cars in our group are very stout pieces of equipment. I mean, we had Venturini, which is a lead Toyota team. We have Rev Racing, which is a lead Chevy team. You had Gage Rogers and Sean Core, who are both very fast. And you had me and my teammate, Big Willie Mullins, who has a very, very fast Chevrolet. That's something too fun about ARCA is my teammate's a Chevy and I'm in a Ford, which is kind of wacky.
That does sound a bit wacky, right there.
Yeah, and their short track car's a Toyota. So,
okay. We had the same thing with Austin Terrio. Austin Terrio had the same thing. He bounced around from manufacturer to manufacturer here when he was on last year. But yeah, go on. I apologize.
No, fine. So we had a very stout group. There wasn't really any other groups that had more than 3 to 4 really good cars, and we had about 5, 6 really, really great cars. And so we're all lined up, and you try to make a plan ahead of time in the garage area on who's going to lead, who's going to tail. And we had this order that Jack Wood was going to lead. That Jack Wood was going to lead us out, followed by Amber Balkian. The 15 car.
Amber.
Amber. Sean Core, Big Willie, myself, and Gage Rogers. And with the plan with me being kind of in the back is me, Big Willie, and Sean and Gage could kind of get fall back a little bit, go into 3 and get good suck up. So 4-minute timer begins.
But we're in at the start finish line, or right when you guys roll off pit road?
Right when we're off pit road.
Okay.
So that 4 minutes is like getting up to speed is part of that 4 minutes. So you'll realistically only set about 2 laps at speed.
Right.
And so we're going about 400 or 500 feet out of pit road. We're going into turn 1. Like I said, I'm at the tail end. And we're still all playing catch up, getting through the gears. And I see some smoke from the lead car of Jack Wood. I'm like, okay, just some tire smoke, no big deal. And then all of a sudden, I see Amber's car just explodes in smoke. I'm like, we got a problem. And I see Sean Core's car take a hard left. It's basically pop a 180, start spinning in the field. And that's when I puckered up, like, pucker factor, maximum Zulu, and I realized that they're blowing up. So we had 2 cars sit here blow up, basically. We had a car destroy a splitter going through the infield. And after the 45-minute red flag, which we made it through somehow, me and Willie and Brad Smith, who's it's a mediocre car. He couldn't really keep up with us in the draft that much. And Gage Rogers. So we're down to 4 of their original 7. Only really 3 good cars.
Right.
We're like, okay, we're already at disadvantage because other groups have 5, 6 cars. We're down to 3. We'll take it. And so they clean that all up, and and here's the thing: it's like the 15 seconds we were like rolling out that counts for the 4 minutes. So we're down to 3 minutes 45 seconds. We go down pit road, we sit there, we wait 45 minutes for them to clean it up, get the green light again, and this time one of the cars behind us, Gage Rogers, he breaks his drive line pulling out of the pits. I believe that's how it happened. So they throw in our caution. We waste 20 more seconds. And now it's down to me, my teammate Big Willie, and Brad Smith, who can't really keep up with us in the draft. He's a big underdog in ARCA. So it's basically me, my teammate. And we went out there qualified 20th and 21st out of 39 cars against people that had like 4 or 5 cars in their pack. So we were already kind of at disadvantage. We should have qualified somewhere in the top 10. And from there, the whole race just was a fiasco. We'd pick the top line, and the top line would lose momentum, and then we'd get a caution. Then we'd restart in the bottom. The bottom would get a terrible restart. We'd fall back 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spots, and we'd get a caution. About 15 to go, we got some nose damage that ultimately ended any chances of us being competitive. We started running a little hot there. I went from about 24th to 11th in 2 laps. You had to restart with about 15 to go. Both top lines check up, and this is after going from the back to the front, back to the front, back to the front the whole race. And so I'm like, it's 15 to go, it's go time. I get some nose damage, I didn't know it yet. And I'm from, like I said, both top lines check up. I'm like 2 wheels on the apron passing people. Like we're 3, 4 wide. I'm not taking any prisoners at this point. And I somehow make it through, and like I said, past like 14 cars. It was insane. Greatest moment of my life. I felt like a Dale Earnhardt out there. And I get left out front, like leading a pack, and with that nose damage, it's like a parachute. Just drags back, and we start losing fuel pressure, start running hot. Motor starts to kind of bog down because we're running hot. And unfortunately, it delegated us to a 27th place finish. But car's somewhat in one piece, nose is a little, need some Bondo duct tape on a lot of zip ties, but or new nose. But yeah, but we'll take it. We got a lot of good experience.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like it. And you were featured on TV. I was watching the race, and I saw you right there on TV with that famous pizza helmet that we all see on Twitter and all your social media platforms. Take us to that, because I'm a pizza fan myself, and ask anybody in the firehouse, and pizza is always an option for me. Yeah, your love for pizza, man. I mean, it goes even beyond what I think I could even do. I mean, you love pizza, man.
Well, yeah, it kind of started out as a joke. Like growing up, I was like the chubby, nerdy kid that sat in the corner and ate pizza and played with his Pokemon cards. And so, growing up through middle school, people were like, the pizza kid. Hey, the pizza. I had pizza shoes and pizza pants and pizza backpack. And about 5, 6 years ago, my mom had a helmet that was custom, like dipped, as like it looked like pizza, very similar to the helmet I have now. And I'm like, oh, this is cool, because it takes something I'm passionate about. I love pizza growing up.
Oh yeah,
and I take something I'm passionate about. I make it a part of my personality, which I didn't mind, and I kind of combine it with racing. And then everybody has a story with pizza. You can relate to pizza. You can at least have some. Everyone has had some interaction with pizza at some point in their lives. So it's relatable. And so it kind of became more of a, hey, here's who I am. So you can kind of just look at me and immediately, like, I like this kid. I can relate to this kid. I hate this kid. This kid hates pizza, or this kid likes pizza. I hate him. You quickly see more than just a helmet. And so it kind of started as a joke, and it kind of became my personality. Now it's what I'm known for.
No, it's fine, because that's why I don't know who followed who first on Twitter, if you followed me or I followed you, but that definitely caught me. Like, oh, this guy likes pizza. I like pizza. I'll follow him. And right there's the commonality right there. Hey, real quick here, before we keep moving on here, you were lit up like a Christmas tree right there, and now you're not. I can barely see you on my end.
Oh,
Just
come
want to
on.
make sure. Yeah, okay, that's better. If that's good for you.
You're perfect.
Okay. I want my audience to see you there. I want to make sure you're good there, Brayton.
Mhm,
Okay, so going back to the start of your career, started racing go-karts in Indianapolis
mhm.
at the age of 4. Tell us about that because I know you're following in your dad's footsteps. Tell us a little bit about your dad, actually.
Yeah, so my dad, he kind of was like more like hobby, like street stock Saturday night type racers.
Right.
He grew up working on cars in the 80s and 70s and 80s as like a late teenager. And figure eight racing is a big thing around Indianapolis. I don't know if you realize that or people realize that, but like outlaw figure eight racing, where you race in the shape of an X or an eight, and you have an X, you have an intersection in the middle. And
Yeah.
you have to like drive through the intersection. That's a huge deal. I mean, we have full blown outlaw light models here, and we have a 3 hour long figure eight race as our world championship. It's huge. And so my dad kind of got started working on those in the late 70s and early 80s.
Right.
And he sponsored a lot of cars out at the Indianapolis Speedrome. And when he was it's about the mid 90s, like, yeah, man, I'm tired of helping people. I'm tired of paying people his rides. He's like, I'm gonna go racing myself. And so he started racing himself in about I believe it was like the mid 90s or so, and or the early 2000s, and he ran Hornets and front wheel drives, and somebody had like a Torino he raced, and then he raced
Right.
some outlaw figure eight stuff. And he'd always have cars in the driveway in the backyard, and little old Brayton over here would go out there to have a hammer that could be beating on the wheels, the bodies, doing whatever I could. I was born into it. That's all I already knew growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was old enough to walk, basically, I was like, "All right, Dad, put me out there, Coach." And
Right.
put me in, and we just moved up the ranks ever since. Like we were talking about my first start in go karts, didn't really go that hot. I went out there, I got wrecked, and I'm like, "All right, Dad, I'm retiring."
Oh, one
And
and done.
that was it. I was one and done.
Yeah.
Barely made it past the heat race, and like one and done. We're calling it there. And hang the fire suit up for a couple years, and then I'm like, "All right, Dad, you know what? Let's try one more time. Let's try it one more time and see what happens." Lucky we stuck with it that time.
Right.
And I moved up through. I was racing street stocks and Thunder cars when I was 12 years old. I had a 1977 Ford Thunderbird. It was awesome.
Very
And I was
nice.
racing against like people like 30, 40, 50, even 60 years old. Some of these guys were. And then I ran, some outlaw figure eight stuff, and I ran starting in 2018. I was 15 years old. I made a move to dirt, and dirt's big around the Midwest, especially late models and sprint cars in Indiana. And I've never been a big sprint car person, but we made the move to dirt late models and the Brownstown Speedway here in Brownstown, Indiana. Notorious track, one of the top 10 tracks constant in the country for. Like there's like a magazine that ranks dirt tracks. It's normally top 10 or top 15. And we went down there, and we didn't really know what we were doing. We got an old dirt car, like a 20-year-old chassis, through our little 383 in it. And we're like, all right, we're gonna go eat. We're gonna see what we can do. And I got top 10 in points and rookie of the year down there, which is really neat. And that's kind of where we've been the past 4 or 5 years, focusing primarily on dirt stuff. And running some asphalt stuff here and there. In the past year or so, we made the move to NASCAR and ARCA. I'm running, this is now, I've ran 3 ARCA Menard Series races, 2 at Daytona, 1 at Talladega. And then I made my NASCAR truck debut last year at Knoxville.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the NASCAR truck debut, but I'm going to start off with this. A lot of people who start off in Indianapolis are exposed to open wheel racing, mainly Indy Car racing. Yet you focus mainly, it looks like, on the path towards NASCAR
Yes.
stock cars. I mean, was there ever a thought of going open wheel racing, especially
No.
Indy Car racing?
I'm a bigger guy. I'm 6'3" to begin with.
You're 6'3" right now at 20 years old.
Yes,
Holy cow, dude!
I barely fit in an ARCA car, let alone an open wheel, like let alone like an Indy car or anything. So it's definitely, it was never really. And growing up, I was always the tallest kid in the class. I'm like, well, he's like, we can put in quarter midgets, but they're a little too big for quarter midgets. And
You can play basketball if anything.
I mean, I tried that for a couple years. I sucked at it. So that's what we did between the first race and the second race. I had that couple year retirement area. That's how we went. We tried basketball.
Got it.
And this is going to sound terrible, but I've only been to IMS 2 times in my life. I live 30 minutes from it, 25 minutes from it. And I've only watched one Indy 500 in person. So
More than me.
So, and that was actually this past year too. So it was kind of my dad grew up, being a big Indy Car guy growing up. He grew up on the south side, and I was never kind of really introduced into it. Kind of, I mean, I watched on TV, but we'd always be my grandpa would always be watching NASCAR, and we'd go over to my grandpa's or my grandparents' house, and they'd have NASCAR on. I'm like, NASCAR, NASCAR. And I kind of grew up around the stock car scene more than the open wheel scene, like the speed realm, my home track on the asphalt side. It was always they very rarely had like midgets or sprint cars there. It was always street stocks or late models or stuff like that. It was never really on the open wheel side of things.
Right. I mean, if it helps any, I've only been to Indianapolis Motor Speedway once, and that was in 2004 for the Formula One United States Grand Prix. But I got to see Michael Schumacher win. That was a pretty impressive.
Wasn't the one that had like 6 cars?
That was the following year in 05. This year, that year I went 04 was the one where Ralph Schumacher wrecked and broke his back coming out of the final turn right there. That was pretty crazy.
One, yeah.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. I won't forget that anytime soon. But now moving up to the truck series, we're going to talk about your truck series because this name comes up a lot on my podcast. A lot of drivers I have here filter through this particular team, Rayun Brothers Racing. We in fact had Josh on very early when we started this show. We've had drivers like Brian Barnhill, Jesse Awuji on, and now Howie Desavino on. No, not Howie. What's his name? Missoula. I forget. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank right now.
Yeah.
You're the fifth driver on that's worked with Brayton Brothers Racing, and that's not a bad thing. Josh, I've met Josh at Darlington, great guy.
Awesome guy.
I finally introduced myself because I never met him up until that point, but yet I still text him from time to time. Great guy. He seems like a pipeline for anybody who wants to make their way in racing. He gives people chances, which is awesome. So how did you come? Did you race ARCA and then?
Yeah. So,
or how did this process go?
That whole deal was kind of I don't want to say fluke, but it was kind of a fluke. It mainly originated, I ran the ARCA Daytona, I ran ARCA Talladega last year, and with I ran both races with the Mullins, and Brad Perez, who runs an Xfinity, and he's run trucks for Josh too. But he runs Xfinity for Emily and Gage on a lot of the road course stuff. But he works with the Mullins a lot on the ARCA side, and he's either a crew guy or crew chief or tire guy, and he's been a tire guy for a lot of the Cup teams, and a lot of the truck teams and Xfinity teams. And he's known well throughout the garage. And he kind of became a good friend of mine starting last year. I worked with him a lot at Daytona, and ARCA has a test every January as well. 2-day test, and he was one of the Mullins' test drivers last year. So that's when I really initially met him. And he made his debut at Sonoma with Ramblin Brothers Racing. And like, oh, that's cool. And I'm like, hey, Dad, what do you think about maybe seeing if we can put something together for the Knoxville race? Because I grew up on dirt. Well, I didn't grow up on dirt, but I've been running dirt the past 4 or 5 years, like I said earlier. And we're like, and the original plan was we were going to run the IRP. Because that's, hometown hero, Brayton last year. I live 45 minutes from my IRP.
Right.
It'd be really cool if we can go and do that. So we reached out to him originally about running IRP. He's like, well, the thing with that is it's the first race of playoffs, and we don't want to make your series debut during a playoff race, and this and that, and this and that. And I'm like, okay, how about Knoxville? I'll do Knoxville for you. And so we went, called, everybody would know, hey, we're trying to do this cool thing. We want to kind of help out. We're doing a cool thing. It's Knoxville, man. It's a truck series. And we were able to raise enough funding and put a lot of sponsorship together to go run Knoxville. And we ran, I believe, 27th in that race. We qualified 31st, which is really neat because Knoxville has heat races. And I got a race against Norm Benning. Me and Norm were side by side for a good majority of that heat race. And it was me or him. Either I beat him and went home, or he beat me and I went home. So it was whoever beat who. And we were duking up. We were throwing sliders here and there a little bit. And it kind of sucks because Norm Benning is someone I look up to a lot, especially, kind of that grassroots type of background. And we sent him home, sadly. And I ran a clean race. I finished 27th, like I said. I mean, not a scratch on the truck. I think it was one of the better Rayon brother finishes that year outside of road courses. So we felt pretty good about that. It's always good when you can load up a truck without any scratches on it. Right? Like, I mean, it was no scratches, no dents. And then, unfortunately, we didn't get approved to actually run the IRP race. I didn't have enough asphalt experience to run, during the playoffs and all that. So we're like, we'll take it, I guess. But
right, and talking to John Garrett last week, he said if you're qualified, if you're eligible to run ARCA, you can run anything in ARCA. You don't have to have an X amount of experience or whatever. Hence the reason why he's running full time in the ARCA series this year, and he was able to do that via a Daytona test. But now talking about ARCA, man, I mean, 2 starts last year. This year, is it a full-time ride this year, or is it a part-time schedule? What's the deal with this year?
Yeah, so I'm not fortunate enough to have a dad or an uncle or a cousin or a brother in a Fortune 500 company. I don't have a special last name or anything like that, so our funding is definitely always a little tight, and we typically have to go in here and raise sponsorship, good dollar for dollars and email, and build a presence and build a brand to go out here and kind of raise money for these races. So full schedule is sadly not on our plate or our table right now, but we're always kind of throwing deals together. Like I said, IRP, Knoxville, and especially Knoxville was a super last minute deal we were able to put together. So it could. I don't know who it'd be with. I don't know where it'd come from. Unless if we go win the lottery tonight, who knows, might happen. But we just kind of take them as we go. The plan, as of now, I believe, is to run Talladega and hopefully maybe some short track stuff later in the season. Right now, we are planning on running some asphalt super late model stuff to kind of go out here and get that bigger small track asphalt experience. I'll be running the Rattler at South Alabama Speedway.
Okay. Check this out. One of my buddies, and unfortunately he couldn't make it tonight, Charlie Hercus, races down there in South Alabama Speedway.
Okay.
In the Cup Light Series. So when you go down there, I think it's in March?
Yep, March.
It's in March.
I want to say 18th.
He will be there in the Cup Light Series. He's running the 83 Cup Light car. Look for him and tell him. I mean, he'll have him and his buddy Austin are co-host of the show. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it. My goodness, I'm getting my names mixed up here. Charlie started a new job, and his hours aren't fitting with the schedule of the show right now, and that's on me. I got to fix that. Austin is a roofer, and his wife just had twins, and so he's busy with that.
Yeah,
go down there, look for them. They're usually in the pits. Look for them, and they'll take care of you, buddy. But that's awesome, man. The Rattler, big race, Cup company, big late model race. A lot of drivers, Grant Fingers have raced in there. A lot of drivers really show their muscle in that race. I mean, I feel like maybe that race, you do well in that race, that'll propel you for ARCA. Hey, I'm an ARCA series driver. I'm an ARCA series. You could sell that. Hey, don't just look at late models. Look at me in the national stage. ARCA, maybe Brayton brothers can get the trucks. I mean, South Alabama is very underrated, especially that race, the Rattler 250. Very underrated.
Big race
here. Very underrated, especially in the late model. I mean, big in the late models, but in the grand scheme of things, it's very underrated, I feel, because, I mean, a lot of names have come from there. A lot of names. And I feel like if you have a shot to win that and even compete in that, your name's already up there. Hey,
yeah.
Rattler 250, man. That's awesome, man. Well, that's great. I wish Charlie and Austin were here.
The one night they're not here.
I know. The scheduling has been messed up here the past couple of weeks here, and that's on me. That's on me. Whatever. But that's awesome, man. I'll definitely give you their contact information and tell them to reach out to you, and you reach out to them most definitely, because it's well worth at least getting the couple guys. And I mean, Charlie's a driver. He's a Cup Light Series driver. He's trying. I mean, he's in his mid-30s right now, but he's still trying to make it, man. I mean, look at John Garrett, one of the oldest guys we've had on the show, but he's now a ARCA Series full-time driver. I mean, never give up on your dreams there, man. That goes with anybody, but never, especially you never know. That's awesome. So you're planning to run the Rattler. And just to fill gaps between Daytona and then Talladega, because I know Phoenix is coming up.
Yep.
You'd love to run Phoenix.
Love to. But it's like I said, it's a come as we go, pretty much. If someone calls me like, "Hey, Brayton, you want to come run Phoenix for me all week?" Yeah, sure, why not? We'll do it. But
Right.
like I said, this is racing. This is motorsports. I don't have the rich dad, uncle, cousin, brother, sister, aunt, moms. I don't have that rich family member of the Fortune 500 company.
And if I were you, and I don't know if you have or not, reach out to Domino's, Pizza Hut, Papa John's. I mean, reach out. I'm the pizza guy, man. I got the helmet.
I'm that guy. Yeah.
You're that guy, man. I mean, reach out to those big pizza guys. DiGiorno. I mean, I'm just, if it was me in your shoes, I'd be like, dude, I already got the helmet.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's like free publicity.
That's free. I mean, right there, you got your marketing. You got your market right there, and that'd be pretty cool. That's just me talking about that. So you're doing your late model stuff right there, and I know that while doing some research on you, I noticed that you did a 24-hour race. You were the first driver ever to compete a 24-hour race in iRacing. And I gotta know, man, because I race myself, man, and I cannot sit there for more than 2 hours, and it's like I'm done.
Yeah.
24 hours at Martinsville, and it looked like the Mazda cars.
Yeah, and the Miata.
I mean, that's impressive in itself. For one, I wouldn't have done it. I don't know. Yeah, how'd you do that, man? Or what?
I don't know how I did it. I'm not gonna lie. I don't remember much of that race. I remember taking out my teammate with 45 minutes left. And here's how bad it was. It was for charity. I believe it was for Toys for Tots. That's kind of that they have everyone. It's a third running of that event. It was a Moon Car 24, which put together by Travis Moonhead Brown, who's a pretty big figure in the iRacing community with Moon Car and all that. And it was my first year doing it, and I was talking to Travis. I'm like, "Hey man, has anyone ever 24 soloed it?" He goes, "We've had 2 people attempt it. One dude's like computer died halfway through, and one dude just got sick and had to go bring in groceries and just quit." I'm like, "I'm your guy, pal. I'm your guy."
Well, we
just dropped the microphone. We're good.
It happens, man.
And my duct tape was a little goofy, and so I'm like, "I'm your guy, pal. I'm your guy." And I had a lot of friends. I live streamed the whole thing. So I was talking to people on Twitch. I had karaoke night going. I'm over here rocking out. I didn't remember. I'm rocking out the whole time. I got coffee going. And the good news about the Mazda Miata is that's like a minute-long pit stops. So pit stop, I go do a pit stop. Like it was we had a sync going there. And it was, I knew it was bad when I looked over the clock. And we were like 18 hours into the race. And I'm streaming it, like I said. I looked at my stream. I saw my webcam. I saw sunlight in my webcam. And I turned around. I'm like, oh, the sun's out. Because it started like 8 o'clock at night. I'm like, man, the sun. I'm like, it's 2 o'clock. I've been doing this for like 18 hours. The sun's been up for like 7. I'm like, I start losing my mind at that point.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't remember, like I said, I don't remember much. I knew I was there. I've gone back and I've watched videos of me wrecking. I don't remember me wrecking. I remember about the last 2 or 3 hours, and I was like a zombie for most of it. But I had fun. Of all I do remember. I could have honestly. I felt like we were on pace for top 15, but it was like to get wrecked, and it was especially like the last half of the race. I wasn't really pushing it that hard. I'm like, if I got wrecked, I'm like, 3-minute tow, go to the bathroom, walk around for a couple minutes, get right back in it. Right. It was something.
Oh, yeah, it sounded like it, man, just based on that. I couldn't have done it. I can't do all-nighters anymore, man. I used to. When I was your age, all night, it doesn't matter when and where. All night I could hang, but once you wait 16 years, 17 years, and you'll realize
I'll get back to that, how it's going.
Look back on this and go, he was right.
Yep.
I mean, hate to say it, man. He was right. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. But yeah, I think that time we'll do it. But talking about sponsorship here, you're looking for sponsors. How do you go about it? What do you do? I mean, how do you sell yourself? I mean, if I was a sponsor, a potential sponsor, how would you sell yourself to me? I mean, what would you say?
Well, I say.
Or for any potential sponsors out there listening.
So my personality, I think, is my selling point. You see a lot of drivers right now, they don't have a personality. They're like a robot. It's like talking to a rock in the ground. I'm kind of known for having this goofy personality. And then I'm serious. I need to be serious on the track. I'm serious out there on track. But back here, I've kind of created like a brand and image for myself, and it shows my social media. Like I've never really been big on social media, but in the past 11 or so, 12 months, I've really established a good fan base. I've acquired over 20,000 followers on TikTok, and I believe we're at like 30,000 followers across all social media, but we had 12 million people reached, like 12 million, impressions last year, which for like a smaller tier driver like me is huge. I mean, that's 12
Oh yeah,
million people.
absolutely.
Like that. I'd say probably top 2 or 3% of all drivers in motorsports. So it kind of become, I've been able to go here and build a brand, build an image behind myself. And we had a lot of great people hop on board for Daytona. We actually got kind of left in the dust. Here's the sad thing about motorsports is we had our primary sponsor backed out with about 6 weeks before Daytona, and so we were calling people, we're dialing for dollars, and we're going through all these books and different websites to try and find different companies that might be interested. And we had All Pro Mold Testers, ironically, was my primary for Daytona, and they reached out by TikTok. They found me through TikTok. And I post all kinds of, behind the scenes of, me working on the dirt cars. And here's something too, is I build all of our motors for the dirt car stuff. You go try to find a driver that builds his own race car motors. And so it's me, one other guy that works on all of our setups and building stuff. And I post behind the scenes videos, and we're down at the Daytona test in January. I posted a video of me, walking through the pits and driving on track. And it's like, hey, man, you guys looking for sponsorship? I'm like, sponsorship is always appreciated. And so we got in contact, becoming our primary. So we're very excited. We're working with, his name is Shane. We're very excited. We're working with him down the road. And then we had a bunch of other local companies like BH Bun. They have little tying machines that you can, tie a knot around their finger. You have a giant boxes, like shipping boxes. You can put them in as ties and knot. AM Manufacturing, they make machines to kind of, for pizza dough, they kind of like round and shape the dough instead of having so much here and kind of toss it and do this and that. So it really speeds up that process. And all bunch of other mom and pop shops. And if you look at our scheme, we call it the mom and pop special, because we had over 45 companies and over 200 individual people contribute to our Daytona efforts. And so it was kind of neat being able to give these mom and pop shops, these NASCAR fans, they have no idea what NASCAR is, but they want to be a part of it, kind of give them opportunity to go on board and whatnot with that whole presence. So it's really neat. And they'll tell you something I just told you. My personality is what stands out. You see people, you see drivers just go sit in the hall. They're all practice or all throughout the weekend. I went in the fan zone. I hanged out in the fan zone for a couple hours and met and mingled with fans and made a lot of new fans. And I'm on Twitter talking to people. I'm on Discord. I'm on Instagram, constantly chatting with people. And people, they can relate to me. Christopher Bell or someone like that, you don't really know much more. And here is his public persona. That's what you know about him. A lot of Cup guys is like that. But me, like, you reach out, I'll talk to that. Like, if you have questions, I have a lot of kids like, hey man, how do I get to their level? How do I get there? And I'll spell it out for them. Like, here's what I did. Here's how good ways to do it. So I think it's kind of a quick but not quick about me, pretty much, and kind of how we've done it so far.
No, I like that. It's real, man, because I feel like you said, any driver, name a driver in the Cup Series who doesn't get out of the car and automatically, we'll say Chase Elliott, just for instance, because I see his diecast on there on the wall. That was the first one I picked out here. He gets out of the car, and I like to thank Napa, Chevy, all these guys. To me, Formula One drivers are the real drivers. They get out of the car and they don't mention sponsors. They talk about the race. They talk about what happened in the pits or the strategy that was made. Those guys right there are the real, true blue. No kidding. This is who I am, and it sounds like that's who you are too. I'm gonna go back around and say it again, man. DiGiorno's, Pizza Hut, Domino's, man. If you haven't already, man, reach out to
Me
them.
too. Yeah.
Because I feel like that's your ticket to go in there. Even in low name, like a Red Baron, the Tombstone Pizza. Who cares? Get a pizza name on your car, man, because that will be perfect for you, and it will just sell, and you'll be on pizza boxes, man.
That'd be really cool. Fastest delivery driver in the Midwest.
Well, you already got the commercials right there. I know David Rudiman was Domino's a few years ago, and I don't think he holds a candle to you. I don't think, because I feel you, man. I love pizza, or one of those, brick oven pizza companies. Like, man, go
Like
for it.
Oni, some, yeah.
Oh, dude, that could be a quarter panel sponsor right there. I'm telling you, man. I think that's it. And I'm sure you've thought of it before, but go for it, dude, man. That's awesome. So you're looking forward to this year. You got Talladega at least in the lineup here. I know it looks like a lot of restrictor plate races or super speedway races are big picture here. But are there any other tracks you're trying to look forward to this season as far as 2023 ARCA series?
I say I'm not really too sure. Like I said, there's a lot of fun tracks. Flat Rock, Toledo, Berlin, Bristol,
Right.
Dover, Michigan, Pocono, Kansas twice for some odd reason, Iowa, Milwaukee, IRP.
Yep.
There's all kinds of different. DeCoin and Springfield. If I could pick one track, DeCoin or Springfield, flat mile dirt ovals and the ARCA cars. And
Okay.
I think what the ARCA stands out is they've been going to these two dirt tracks forever, and I think I'd probably do pretty decent there because you don't have that dirt background,
Right.
but there's nothing like a flat mile dirt track, especially in the 3,400-pound stock car. So if I could pick one track, it'd definitely be one of those. Or I really want to try Pocono or Michigan,
Yeah, Pocono would be fun.
just because they're different, they're unique, they're fast. But I'd say probably like a DeCoin Springfield,
All right.
something unique, something different. Pocono, like I said, a tricky triangle.
Hey, man, I hear you. I've been in Pocono a few times as a fan, but nonetheless, I've been there, man. Well, hey, man, we're gonna wrap it up here. It's getting kind of late on my end. I know your end. You're trying to. I know. I wish I could talk to you more. We'll definitely have you back on. But real quick, I got a question for you. I ask every driver, and if you've listened to my show, you'll know. But I mean, maybe not. Maybe you were busy this past week. Say racing was. I mean, say 4-year-old you was never introduced to racing, never got into a car. What would you be? What do you think you'd be doing now? You're 20
Be a
years old.
school teacher.
You'd be a school teacher.
I'd be a school teacher.
What subject would you teach?
History.
Oh, wow, history buff. I'm a history buff too myself.
And also history teachers, I feel like have the easiest jobs in the world because all they teach stuff that's already happened.
Yeah, and I know you're going to Liberty University
Yes.
right now. What are you studying?
Business right now.
Oh, so you're studying business, but you'd be a history teacher if you could. I mean, but that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So okay, well, I mean, hey, man, give us a shout out. Give us your social media plugs where people can find you, look you up if they haven't already. Where can they find you? Good quick sponsor plug and anything like that before we wrap up.
So my Twitter big one is at the One Pizza Man. Surprise, surprise, I like pizza. My Instagram where I post a lot of like stupid stuff is at the only the Pizza Man. Surprise, surprise. My Facebook page, for some of the people that still use Facebook, is just Brayton NASCAR Motorsports. We have a page there from our dirt stuff to the figure eight asphalt to the ARCA to the truck stuff. We post a lot of stuff on there, and then I'm missing one. TikTok. How can I forget TikTok, man?
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's at Brayton Aston. Nice, simple, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I posted a lot of stuff, a lot behind the scenes. We talked about that a little bit ago. A lot of behind the scenes videos of either us working on stuff or us painting stuff that we shouldn't be painting, or just racing clips, and a lot of fun stuff there goes on TikTok as well. And I have a website too, BraytonAston.com, where our full 2023 schedule will be released eventually in the next couple weeks. Fingers crossed. I don't know. And fun. And you kind of see my story there. And I just gotta give a shout out to my parents. They've
absolutely.
They've sacrificed a lot. My whole family. I got a little sister and older brother too. We've missed a lot of family vacations. We could have probably gone on and whatnot. So I just gotta give a shout out to them for kind of putting up with a lot of my BS over the past decade or so. My dad doesn't mind it. My mom, though, she's not a big fan of the whole racing thing. But we're gonna make her a fan, I promise.
Well, that's awesome. And all those can be found at ramblinaboutracing.com under the guest section. You'll be right there on it, man. And number 14.
Let's go.
Number 14 on Ramblin' About Racing. And not the last, but definitely, I dare say, the one that stands out the most, at least to me, being a fellow pizza lover. Because again, and my catchphrase is pizza's always an option.
Mm-hmm.
Always an option. You're gonna have it the night before, and it's still an option.
Perfect. Put a microwave, it'll be good.
Not even the microwave. Order a whole new pie.
There you go. Yeah, that too.
Why even put it in the microwave? No way, man. Just wait. Before we go, now I got to ask you this, man. How do you reheat your pizza?
If I'm in a hurry, like if I'm going to work, I throw it in the microwave. The ideal from this gonna sound crazy is I like to put in a pan and put water in the pan.
Oh, okay. Here's what I do. I put oil in the pan first, get the crust nice and crispy.
Okay.
Put the water in the pan, cover it up. That melts the cheese. Okay, we're on the same wavelength here. Remember me when you make it big in the Cup Series. I need to get these guys passes. Yeah, okay.
We'll be good.
We'll cross that. Hey, Brayton, man, thank you for taking the time. I know you've been busy, especially with Post Daytona and all that stuff. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us this week. It's been a lot of fun. Can't wait to put it out there and hopefully get people to know you better. And we'll definitely have you back on. Hopefully I'll tell Josh about this. Maybe he'll give you a truck series ride here, or truck series race here this year. Hopefully, cool, I hope. Yeah, I'll tell Josh about it, man. I mean, at least I'll throw him the episode and said he spoke highly of you, which you did. And I'll do that, man. But hey, best of luck in 2023. Best of luck at the Rattler. Make sure to go talk to Charlie and Austin.
We'll do.
That'd be great for you to meet up with them. And if they're not busy and you're not busy, meet up with them. Maybe you're not 21 yet. I would say have a beer.
Yeah, a couple more months to go.
Yeah, a couple months, man. Just be patient. It's there. Don't worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
Best of luck in 2023, man. Again, thank you for being on the show. I can't say that enough. Best of luck, man. And we'll talk to you later.
I appreciate you bringing me on. It was a blast, and see you at the next one.
All right, man. Will do.
Hey, race fans, like what you just saw, be sure to hit that like button at the bottom and hit that notification bell as well for any upcoming live episodes. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to Ramblin' About Racin's YouTube channel. There you can go back and watch previous episodes, even back when we used to be called In the Marbles. Check us out.